Let's humble ourselves on it. Loving King of glory, thank you for this day. Thank you for the gift of life and salvation. I know you've done for us. Thank you that you've always been by our side. As we're going for this mathematics lesson, we pray that we'll understand everything and that we shall put everything into practice. We also pray that you'll go ahead of us and that there will be no poor network issues and that everything will go on well. In Jesus' name I've prayed. Amen.
Okay. Faith, thank you very much. I request someone to review for us what we discussed last time, so that we proceed with the background of what we know already. Okay. All right. Let's hear from Charity. Charity, unmute.
Last time we discussed about data collection and presentation and the types of data, which are qualitative data and quantitative data. Qualitative data is the data that is not given numerically. For example, favorite color, place of birth, favorite food and type of car, gender, etc. etc. Then quantitative data is given numerically, and the types of quantitative data are discrete quantitative data and continuous quantitative data. Discrete quantitative data is given in specific numerical values, e.g., shoe size, number of brothers, number of cars, etc. And then this type of data is also expressed as a fraction or a decimal. Then also the discrete quantitative data can also be taken on whole numbers. Then for the continuous data, we said it can take on any numerical value, e.g. height, mass, length, weight, etc. But yes, we also looked at the ways of collecting data, which are through observations, through questionnaires, through interviewing people, through surveys, through censuses, and through experiments, measuring, and oral history.
Okay. Thank you, Faith. Do you want to supplement something?
No, teacher, I was just going to recap.
Okay. Okay. that's very good. So how many of you did the other exercise on page 98? Hosanna, say something.
Yes, teacher. I did that exercise about Mr. Okot when he starts his database for his lesson.
Okay.
That one. I did that exercise, the one of Mr. Okot starts to. The table showing a database that has no entries. I did that one.
Okay. All right. Who did number 3? Because the other part was, we had already discussed a little bit of it. Anyone?
Yes,
Ruth, please mute your mic if you're not saying anything. Adeke?
I wanted to say that I did number 3.
Okay, can you please take us through what you
Number
did?
3 says, yes, the table below shows a database that has no entries. Then the columns have the name, age, favorite food, favorite TV show, favorite pop group, and the time spent watching television yesterday. So I used the data from 10 people to complete the database. And in our family, we're also about 10 people. So I wrote the first name, the name of my dad. His name is Emmanuel Okel. I wrote his best dish, that is greens and kosho. His age, that is 51. And then his favorite TV show, that is watching aircraft investigation. And first, we're not really into pop music, but I just wrote one famous, let me say, Christian music artist, and his name is Chris Tomlin. And then the time spent watching TV is 2 hours. The next was my mom. Her name is Victoria Okel. The best dish is chicken wings. Age 41. Favorite TV show, Bukede News. The favorite music, I wrote gospel, and then she also spent 2 hours. Next is my elder cousin, who is also called Adeke. She's called Adeke Janet. Her favorite dish is chips and chicken. Her age is 25. Her favorite things watching TV are movies and series. And her favorite music is gospel. She spent 4 hours watching television. And then I went to Chiabo Rispa, and she loves millet bread and fish, and her age is 21. She also loves Bukede News. She loves gospel music and watched TV for 3 hours. I went and proceeded to myself, and my favorite dish, I love fish, chicken, chips, and also fried cassava. My age is 14, and I love watching Da Vinci Learning. I also love gospel music, and I watch TV for 4 hours. And then I proceeded to my brother called
Okay,
Mongi.
Faith.
In
We-
all, I finished like filling in everything. And then part B states whether each column contains qualitative data. And according to me, the qualitative data is the columns that contain the qualitative data is the column for the best dish, the favorite TV show, and then the favorite music. And then the continuous quantitative data, I think that's the column for age. And then the discrete quantitative data, I think that's the time spent watching TV. And then C, answer the following questions. What is the most popular TV show? I think this one depends on what you filled in the table. You can check and see like the TV show that appears to be liked by more than one person, and that will become the most favorite TV show. And then when they ask who is the oldest, you go to the column for age, and then you check the person who has the highest number, like let me say 51 or 60 or 70, and that's the eldest person. And then what is the favorite pop group for the youngest person? You still go to the age. You first go to the age column and then look for the smallest number. Maybe the person is 7 years old. And from there, you proceed and follow to the favorite pop group column. And then you'll see if they like any particular music. And then D, write 3 more questions you could consider using. Write 3 more questions you could answer using your database and write the answers to them. The questions you can ask are, who is the eldest person, and which people enjoy the same dish, and you can also ask who among the people enjoy a particular thing. That's how I answered that question.
Okay, thank you, Faith. You have been really descriptive. That is very good. Let's hear from some other person who did. I request all the friends here to as well try out these numbers such that you get a picture of what you're doing. So you should know that for these questions, especially question 3, the answers may not be the same throughout for the students. So you'll be filling in what you have for now. Okay, let's hear from our default.
Okay,
Great.
teacher, I'm just going to answer part B and C. I drew the table, but I think it will take too long to like say everything.
Okay, you can mention like 3 names that you filled, and then the categories that you have. We might not have all the 10, so you can mention or start as 3, and then you
Okay,
proceed.
my family. Okay, we don't really reach 10, so I included my cousins. But one of my cousins, she's called Shamin. She's 26. Her favorite pop group is Blackpink. Then her favorite TV show is some TV series called Insatiable. Her favorite food is fish fingers. And the time she spent watching TV yesterday, 2 hours. Then I also have a cousin called Nathan. She's 17. Her favorite pop group, BTS. Her favorite TV show, Big Brother Niger. Her favorite food, fried chicken. And the time she spent watching TV yesterday was 30 minutes. Part B, state whether each column contains qualitative, quantitative, discrete, or quantitative continuous data. So for qualitative, I put the name, the favorite pop group, favorite TV show, and favorite food. And for continuous quantitative data, I put the age and the time spent watching TV, because I think time is continuous because it can be stated as 1.5 hours and those things. Then for part C, answer the following question. What is the most popular TV show? And I see here it's some TV show called The Office. Who is the oldest? The oldest is my mom, Hope. What is the favorite pop group of the youngest person? The youngest person is like 5 years old, so they didn't have a favorite pop group, so I left it blank. And part D, write 3 more questions you could answer using your database and answer them. I wasn't really sure, so I wasn't sure what to do. The way I interpreted it was I add more questions. The way I interpreted it was like I was adding more questions to that table. So the things I included were favorite celebrity, favorite novel, and favorite restaurant.
Okay, thank you, our default. Anyone else who wants to give us a view? Okay, Rona. Rona, please unmute.
Teacher, as I was, okay, let me first share my table. So the first person was my mom, and she's 45. Her favorite food is matoke and kalo, and favorite TV show is Case Closed. Favorite pop group, none. Time spent watching TV yesterday, 1 hour. And then Prosper, who's 10. Favorite food, pizza, and favorite TV show, regular show. Favorite pop group, Chainsmokers, and then time spent watching TV yesterday, 4 hours, 30 minutes. And then me, 14. And then favorite food, grilled chicken. Favorite TV show, Sisters. Favorite pop groups, NSG. And then time spent watching TV yesterday, 2 hours. So part B, for qualitative data, I got the name, the favorite food, favorite TV shows, and favorite pop groups. And then continuous quantitative data, I got time spent watching TV yesterday, and then the age. And then for discrete, I didn't get any. And then part C, The most popular TV show is Case Closed. And then the oldest is My Mom. And then the favorite pop group for the youngest person is Chainsmokers. And then for the questions, I added, for the first question, I added what is the most popular pop group? And that is NSG. And then who watched TV the least yesterday? And that was Prosper. And then who's the youngest? And that's Prosper. So I have a question. There are some people who didn't watch TV at all. So if I ask who watched TV the least yesterday, do I say, like, let's say there was a person who watched TV for 2 minutes or 30 minutes, and there are people who didn't watch TV at all. So who watched TV the least yesterday?
Okay, Rona, you should note that the key term there is watching a TV. So if you didn't, it means you didn't. Okay? And do you get my point?
Teacher.
Yes. So if they didn't, then they didn't. So they don't qualify to be. Okay, Rona, thank you very much. Now, girls, before we move to page 100, there's a question I want to pose to you. What do you think is the key factor as you're collecting data for question 3? The major factor that you should have at hand first. Anyone? Okay. Let's hear from Kirabo. Kirabo, unmute.
Data collection method. Like you should have a method that you're going to use to collect the data before you actually start collecting the data.
Okay. Thank you. Nantali? Unmute.
For me, I think it's the person.
Person? Okay. Hosanna? Okay, Emily?
Teacher.
Teacher, for me, I think it's the type of data you're going to collect.
All right. Angela?
I think for question 3, when you're like answering it, you have to make sure that you have all the necessary data, such as the people's favorite TV shows, or like which people are the old house. Yeah.
Okay, but remember, I was saying that what is the key factor as you're collecting data currently? Because now you're somewhere, okay? So this question now zeroed to some specific corner that you should think about, or the scale you have to collect that data. So what is that? Besides the method, what else can you talk about? Was that? Okay. Hosanna, do you want to say something?
Yes, teacher.
Okay.
I have a question. On the exercise you told us to do, I was asking what are the things that are under discrete, quantitative, or data?
Okay. Remember we said that for discrete data, you're dealing with data that has integral values or numbers that are integers that you're dealing with. So they don't have whole numbers or decimal points, okay? But for continuous, they have decimal points. Say, for example, if if you're 14.5 years, then that is continuous, okay? But your position will be discrete because you can either be first or last, okay? And then for qualitative, from quality, you're dealing with something that you cannot measure, okay? Something that is not tangible, just the quality of it. So the data which is qualitative, some data which is not tangible. But for quantitative, from quantity, you can collect it, measure it, it is tangible. So say for example, if you're having shoes, okay, that is quantitative. But if you're dealing with age or years, I don't think you can hold your years. I don't know. Okay, Davina,
Teacher, I've
what to say?
understood.
All right, Davina.
Teacher, is time continuous or discrete quantitative data?
The time is continuous because even when you're having, say, now it is 27 minutes past 12, but you have the minutes, the seconds, okay, microseconds, okay? So yielding up to a fraction to make up the time you have.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
You're welcome, please. But I asked you the other question. I don't know whether there was someone who wanted to attend to it. Tendo?
Teacher, I want.
Please unmute.
Teacher, I wanted to ask, so among the data given above, which is discrete?
What do you think, according to my explanation? What comes to your mind?
I thought it was that time, but then you said it's continuous.
Okay, time can be a little bit tricky depending on how you're going to measure it. If say you're dealing with hours, and you're consistent onto having say 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours exact. So in that case, you can be dealing with discrete. But if say you're having 1 hour and 30 minutes, which is 1 hour and a half, that will now be continuous. So it depends on how you express it. So that's why it
What
can
about,
be fast.
teacher,
What about? Yes,
what about 30 minutes? Is it discrete or continuous?
it depends. 30 minutes according to hours or just minutes. If they are just minutes and you're collecting your data with units as minutes, say you're having 10, you're having 30, you're having 20, then that will be discrete in that sense because you're dealing with integral values. But if they are hours and say you're having the first time you have measured is 30 minutes, then you went to 1 hour and 20 minutes, okay? Then in that sense, it will transfer to being continuous because of the other part, a fraction yielding to a whole number. Hope it makes sense now. I don't know.
Yes, teacher, thank you.
All right. In a minute that we have now, I want someone to answer the other question I posed lately. What should be at the back of your mind as you're collecting data right now where you are for question 3? I want to move very fast to page 100. Look here. Okay, Tendo. Tendo, please unmute. Okay, our default.
No, teacher, it's fine. I just left my hand up.
I think the method which you're going to use collect the data, and how you're going to interpret it.
Okay. Hannah?
I think also the people you're going to ask in this case, the names, because you're referring to the table. So I think also the names of the people, okay, the people that you're going to ask or inquire from is also important.
Very good. I request girls to give Hannah some flowers because this was really good. The people that you're going to collect the data from are fundamental. In that case, you're dealing with your family now, because at this point, we expect you to be with the family. So if you don't have a family, you can't collect this data. So that is very fundamental. Very fundamental in that sense. Okay, let's move very fast to 100. Okay, Vanessa, do you want to say something?
Teacher, I wanted to ask on part D of the question, which says, write 3 more questions you could answer using your database and write the answers to them. I'm just asking, okay, like for Crown's answers, it was like she was giving new things like maybe favorite song, favorite restaurant and stuff like that. But they say that write 3 more questions you could answer using your database, like what you've written from like the things you already wrote like back. So would Crown's answer would Crown's questions be correct in this case?
Okay, so what you need to do here is to transfer what you're thinking about into questions, okay? Depending on the data you have. And the questions can be a variety, depending on what you think about and depending on the sample space you have. Okay, sample space, I mean
But what will be marked?
Pardon?
What will be marked correct? Like she's trying to ask which answer is right and wrong.
I didn't get your question well. Pardon?
I am saying what is going to be marked correct.
Hey, okay. Now, girls, you shouldn't be worried about what should be marked wrong or right in this case, because the marking according to your new curriculum is very different, okay? So sometimes we mark by impression, okay? And some questions might not be having right answers, like constant right answers, okay? But they depend on how you bring them out to get the answer right. So that is what you should note in this, okay? So someone to read for us, we're on page 100. Someone put up the hand, read for us, activity 9.2. Okay, let's hear from Manuela. Yes, this time we have,
In
okay,
groups,
proceed.
collecting data. In groups, identify the means of transport each learner used to come to school. As a class, identify how many of you use the same means of transport.
Okay.
Which means of transport is used by the majority? Which one is least used? Which one is the least used means of transport?
Okay, now this question now is, okay, we don't have students now coming to school. So you're going to change this question to now your home. What means do your parents use as they go for work? Some hands and explain for us. Okay, who is coming first? Manuela? Okay, she dropped. Let's have Hope. Hope Chirabo.
My parents use a car as they go to work because the distance between home and the workplace is long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing with us. Then Paul.
My parents, so my mom in particular uses a car to go to work because she works in town and we live in Chira. So it's like a great distance from home to work. And she needs to get there in time.
Okay, thank you. Now, think about if you are invited maybe to a birthday party, which means would you use right now? Or maybe after this lesson? Someone share with us. Anna, unmute.
I think I would use a car.
Do you have it right now? Are you able to drive?
No, but my sister is and she's here.
Okay, thank you. Rukia?
Teacher, in my case, I could walk because it's cheap if you walk.
But you should bear in mind the distance between your home and where the party. I don't think you can walk.
So
I
to
don't
walk
think.
for 2 kilometers is not that bad. So you walk to save, and though it takes a long time, but you rather walk than bleed for someone. Like, please take me to this party, please. Rather walk.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay, let's hear from Daniela. Please unmute.
I would rather use a tukutuku or a boda or safe border or something.
Thank you. Tendo.
Teacher, under these circumstances, when you walk, you sweat. So we take a boda.
Okay. All right. Then lastly, Primrose. Okay. Maybe second last. Primrose.
Teacher, for me, I would use a taxi. The taxis that are always from around town, from destination to destination. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Helen.
Teacher, I would use a bicycle.
Okay. How far can you go with it?
If I'm going to a supermarket, that could be like around 9 kilometers.
Okay, very good. So I welcome your answers. They are very good. And I'm happy that some girls would exercise using maybe a bicycle or even walking, but other means as well are very okay. All right. Now we have that example there. Someone to take us through very fast. To read for us. Okay, look here. Look here, please unmute.
Teacher, example, I'm beginning from example, right?
Yeah.
Example, the learners in your class were asked how they go to school. Method. Method of travel, tally and frequency. Those who walked, there are 9 sticks in the tally column, and the last column there are 9. Then the bike, there are 3 sticks. Then the last there is figure 3. And then those who use a car, there are 6 sticks in the tally, and then 6 in the frequency. And then the bars, there are 12 sticks, and the last one there are 12. The total is 30. Illustrate the data using a.
Okay.
So should I
look here,
continue?
Before you come to illustrate, is that table okay? Anyone confirm whether the table is okay? Okay, Ozana, what do you think is the problem there?
Yes, teacher. I was reading through and I found that in work it's 9, but in a bundle there are 5 sticks. Then I counted the 5 and then I counted it's 8, not 9, teacher.
Okay, so let's try to correct that. Okay, because we want to keep the numbers as 30, the total, so we shall include another 1 stick for our work. Okay? Is that okay?
Yes, teacher.
All right. Then the other thing, there is another way of representing that tally. You can bundle them up. Okay. You can bundle them up. So for example, if you have, hope you're able to see my screen. If there are 4, then the 5th, you bundle it up. Okay. Or you can use the one they used in the table, but maintain the number as for the frequency. So the frequency should correlate with the tally you have in that case. Okay, Lukia, please proceed to the illustration.
Illustrate this data using a pictograph. A pictograph, B a bar chart, C a pie chart. What are your conclusions that can be? I can no longer see the thing. Teacher, I can no longer see. Let me use my prototype.
Okay. Okay. What are the main conclusions? What are the main conclusions that can be deducted from the data? Okay, but before
what
we
are
proceed,
the main conclusions that can be deducted from the data? Solution.
okay,
There are
before Lukia, you go to the solution. Someone to explain for us what a pictogram is. Anyone? Chirabo Pal.
A pictogram is like a table where it's like this table, but there are no tallies and frequencies. You represent the information using pictures, but sometimes the digits might be too big, and there you need a scale to represent the big amount of something. So yeah, pictogram is representation using pictures.
Okay. Then a bar chart. Charity, do you want to explain what a bar chart is? Okay, she dropped. Hope.
A bar chart, this is basically where we use bars. We draw the vertical and horizontal axes, and we at the bars, the levels where the bars stop basically represent where the frequencies they told us to put. Basically, we use, okay, in this method, we use bars to represent something, but on a vertical and horizontal axis format.
Okay, and for a bar chart, do you know a vertical and the horizontal?
Yes.
Chirabo?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
So if one draws this, then that is the vertical, okay? With an arrow, and then this will be the horizontal. So which units do you have for the vertical? For a bar chart? Chirabo?
Teacher, what do you mean?
Okay, you say that for a bar chart, we do graph using bars, the information. Now,
yes.
What do you represent?
Oh, on the vertical axis, I would put frequency.
Okay.
Yes. And then on the horizontal, I'll put method of travel.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Now let's proceed to the next page. All right. Someone to take us through the solution. Petra, do you want to say something? Take us through.
No, I was asking if they could give us an example of how to draw a pictogram.
Okay, that's where we're heading now. Okay. Okay, Divine.
I have a question about the bar graph. Can you put the frequency on the horizontal axis, then you put the method of going to school on the vertical axis, then the bars will be lying horizontally. Is that okay?
No, it is not okay because excuse me, when we are plotting graphs, we plot them depending on the dependency law. Okay, there are some data that depends on the other. Okay, so the one that it depends on the other is always on the vertical. Okay, like for example, if you want to know the number of students, which will give you the frequency, you should have the students. Okay, so the number depends on the students. Okay, so that the data which is independent is the one that we put on the horizontal. So like if you have the students, then they will be on the horizontal. Or like for that example, we have the modes or methods of travel. Okay, so the independent data is methods of travel. Excuse me. But if you want to determine the frequency, it will depend on the methods of travel, considering the number you have. So the frequency will always be on the vertical because it depends on the method of travel. So the one which depends on the other is always on the vertical. And the one which is independent is on the horizontal, always. Hope that is okay.
Yes, teacher.
All right. Faith?
Okay, I'm giving the answer.
Okay, take us through the solutions.
Okay, for the pictogram, they've said one stickman represents two people, and yet up there's also half a man. So if you're getting confused, you can find also first what half a man represents. And as per here, I found out that half a man represents one person. Part one says we find the number of the people who walk. Anyway, so it is 4.5. You'll say 2 people represent, one person, one stickman represents 2 people. What about 4.5 stickmen, which will be 9 out of 2 after working out the mixed fraction, because it's 4.5, which will become 9 out of 2 times 2, the number of people, whereby you'll get 9 people. Even you can also use this method of just labeling this whole stickman with 2 plus 2 plus 2, then the half man plus 1. You're also going to get 9. Yes, then for the bike, 1.5 stickmen, you're going to get 3 as your answer. For the car, you're going to get 6. Then for the bus, you're going to get 12, using the shorter method of just labeling on the table. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Any supplements? Charity?
Yes, teacher. I also just wanted to explain the solution. Like, since they have said one stick man represents two people, you first find what one person, like how one person is represented by a stick man. And if you want to get that, you divide one out of two to get a half. That means one person is represented by half a stick man. So to find how many stick men you have to draw for walk, you multiply a half times 9 to give you 4.5. That's why they drew 4 stick men and a half. Then for the bike, you multiply a half times 3 to give you 1.5. That's why they drew 1.5 stick men. Then for the car, you multiply a half times 6 to give you 3. That's why they drew 3 stick men for car. Then for bus, you multiply a half times 6, a half times 12 to give you 6. That's why they drew 6 stick men. So you first find how one person is represented by a stick man, then you multiply it by the number for a given method of travel to get how many stick men you should draw. Yeah.
Thank you, Charity. Excuse me. So benchmark, you should first find what each stick man represents. Okay, someone to take us through B, basically the bar chart. Our default, do you want to do that?
May I have a question?
Yes, please.
So when you collect any type of data and you want to illustrate it using a pictogram, bar chart, or pie chart, you first draw the tally chart.
Our default.
I'm talking.
I didn't hear the last statement.
I say if you want to illustrate data on a pictogram, bar chart, or pie chart, you first draw a tally graph, that tally table, you first draw it.
Yes, it is always very important, especially if you're to use, okay, if the data is raw, okay?
Yes.
Right, I mean, you have a collection of stuff, say you're having shoes, you have pens, you have benzines all together, and you want to separate them, okay?
Yeah.
By picking a pair or any item at a time, you develop a tally for each. So if you pick a pair of shoes, then you tally, that is 1. When you pick a pen, that is 1. When you pick another pen, that is 1. So the tally helps you at the end of the day to write a column of frequency, okay?
Yeah. But if you're given a table like in the previous exercise, is it necessary to draw a tally?
Not really. We basically use a tally if the data is raw and you want to extract the frequency.
Thank you very much.
All right, please. Hannah, do you want to say something, or you want to take us through part B?
I wanted to take you through part B.
Okay, please proceed.
A bar graph is basically representation of data using bars. So like Hope said, we start with a vertical and horizontal axis and decide get what we are supposed to represent on each. Then we get a scale. In this case, I think 1 centimeter on the vertical axis represents 2 people. So after determining and marking, after determining the scale, we mark off the vertical axis with the numbers that we are supposed to represent. We start representing the data by going on the horizontal axis and then naming maybe walking, and we put a bar to represent walking, which actually in this case ends somewhere it's supposed to be in between 4 and 5, because 1 centimeter is supposed to represent 2 people. So 9 people is represented by 4.5. Then we, after making that bar, we move on to the bikes and the people who use bikes. It's 3 people, so the bar has to end at 1.5. Then for cars, it's 6 people, so it ends at 3. Then for the bus, it ends at 6 because it's 12, representing 12 people. After that, we shed the bars.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, teacher.
All
It
right.
was Hannah. It was Hannah. It was
All right.
Excuse me, teacher.
Hannah,
I had
thank
a
you.
question.
Yes, please.
How did she make her scale? Because I'm so confused there. Aren't you supposed to like represent everything 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Then you start representing like that.
Okay. Now, the bar chart you have in your prototype book is kind of a sketch. Okay. But if you're having a graph paper, you can represent that data very well, as what she said earlier. So you can choose, say, for a vertical and say that I will take maybe a centimeter or 2 small boxes to represent maybe a person. That is one you have there, okay? And that should be consistent for all the numbers, okay? And say for the horizontal, you can say I will choose 2 boxes to represent, say, a walk, a bike, a car, or something, okay? But what you shouldn't forget in this case is majorly labeling the axes, okay? You don't forget to label and then indicate or put open-ended arrows, okay? Label this as frequency, okay? Label this as method of travel, the horizontal, okay?
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, please.
How about if your scale is like 1 centimeter represents 1 person? Is that still okay?
It is okay, provided it will fit on your graph.
Okay.
You can use any convenient scale. Okay. But there are questions whereby they will give you a scale and you should go by that. Okay. But if they don't give you a scale, you can choose any scale. All right. And then you plot. But don't forget to your horizontal axis should be with open-ended arrows as I have shown, and the vertical as well. And don't forget to label your axis. Okay, we have only 2 minutes.
Yes, excuse me, teacher. I have another question.
Yes, please.
The way we draw our bar graphs in geography, is it the same way we draw it in math, or it's different?
Okay, in geography, I'm not sure what you do, but
no, because this illustration shows what they do in geography, but just a bit different. So are we supposed to do what they do in geography?
I don't know what you really for in geography, but in geography you might have some strict concept that you should pay attention to, but in math, provided your scale is constant, okay? If you continue with, say, 2 small squares, they should be consistent for the vertical units, and don't skip. Say if you're from 0 to 1 to 3, don't skip, say, and write 0 to 1 to 4, okay? The units as well should be constant. Label the axes, draw the bars very well, correlating with the frequency. Even when you don't shade, that's all for math.
Yeah,
okay?
first, yes. Another question. Like when you're drawing our bars, are we supposed to attach it to the vertical axis, or we can do it how we normally used to do it in primary, where you just attach to the vertical axis and attach the next bar to the bar that's attached to the vertical axis, like that, leaving no space? Or there's a specific order we're supposed to follow?
Now, that brings us to a difference between a bar chart and a bar graph, okay?
Yes.
A bar chart will always have spaces, as you see that one, okay? But
Yes.
for a bar graph, is continuous. From the vertical, there are no spaces. Like here, you won't be having those spaces midway, okay? So for it, it is constant. That is a bar graph. But that will be a story for maybe a Friday or some other day, okay? But for now,
Teacher, one last thing.
Pardon?
Teacher, one last,
Stop.
Teacher, one last question.
Okay, please.
One last question. Since you say that in a bar chart, we leave space, mean we also have to leave space from the vertical axis to the first bar.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
So
Rona?
do it right on graph paper.
Yes, I said the one you have in the prototype is kind of a sketch of what you should have. But when you want to have the exact bar chart or bar graph correlated with the concept you have, you need to be with a graph paper. Okay, Charity, I will take Charity's question last. Then we close this. Charity?
Teacher, bar chart that is showing is representing information from the pictogram, but aren't we supposed to represent information from the table on the bar chart?
Yes, we should represent all the information from the table or the data we have. Okay, so the one you have in the prototype is a dummy, kind of giving you a picture of what you should do. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. Teacher Martha, do you want to say something before you close?
No, thank you so much, Teacher Joseph, and thank you to the girls that were very participative. I think I loved the discussion. Otherwise, there's nothing really to say.
Okay, thank you for attending as well. Thank you, Teacher Bruno, for hosting us, Teacher Theo, Teacher Jennifer, and all the girls. Thank you for coming to meet on Friday. As well, don't forget, at the end of this month, we are going to be having tests. So please prepare for those tests.
Tests online.
Yes, please.
All the
Yes.
subjects. Teacher, like exams.
Yes, there are going to be exams and you will
All the
receive reports.
subjects.
Yes, in all the subjects. Please get ready.
Oh my
All right, we meet on Friday.
Teacher, online? Are we going to do them online?
Yes, they are going to be auto marking themselves. The ones they have been doing. So they will be kind of.
Teacher, are they going to be like promotional exams?
Yeah, my dear. I just request you to be ready for them. Okay?
Teacher.
That is for us to determine whether for
Teacher, are they
promotion.
going to be put on our report card?
Yes, you'll receive digital report cards at the end.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, please.
Now.
Should we write the activity on page 103?
Pardon?
Should we write the activity on page 103?
Yeah, guys, I advise you to read ahead. If you have time, please proceed. Make your own notes because you're going to cover all those topics. So it is good to be having all the knowledge. Thank you. I think that's all.
Thank you for the lesson.
All
Teacher,
right,
this
please.
gonna be
Bye.
promotional
Thank you
exam.
for the lesson.
Thank you for the bye. Thank you for the lesson.
Thank you for the lesson.
Thank you for the
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
all right,
Bye.
please.
Bye, teacher. Thank you for teaching.
Thank you.
Thank you for
attending.
teaching us, teacher. Bye.
Yeah, I love you, teacher.
That's too much.